Hello, and welcome to Beyond Books, where I talk about books from Book of the Month Club and beyond. I'm your host, I'm Renee. Let's get started with some reviews of three banned books, which I read in January as part of the hashtag 24BB Banned Book Challenge. This challenge was suggested by MJ at Reading This Life, and I'll put a link to that video below. And in this challenge, what we're doing is we're going to read 24 banned books in 2024 and discuss them on our channels to raise awareness of the type and number of books that are banned or challenged frequently within the United States, and maybe a little bit about why. So, first, it's probably good to be aware of some of the numbers. So, according to the American Library Association website, which is at ala.org, and I'll put a link below to that as well. Let me read to you what it says when it's talking about banned books and the number of, especially recently in the United States. In a time of intense political polarization, library staff in every state are facing an unprecedented number of attempts to ban books. ALA's Office for Intellectual Freedom, ALA documented 1,269 demands to censor library books and resources in 2022, the highest number of attempted book bans since ALA began compiling data about censorship in libraries more than 20 years ago. The unparalleled numbers of reported book challenges in 2022 nearly doubles the 729 book challenges reported in 2021. Of the record, 2,571 unique titles targeted for censorship, there were by or about LGBT plus persons and Black, Indigenous, and people of color. So of the 2,571 unique titles, most were by people of color, LGBTQ, Indigenous, and Black people. So, for some updated information, those are the figures from 2021 and 2022. They have 2023 compiled up through August 31st. So the Office for Intellectual Freedom reported 695 attempts to censor library materials. So this isn't in schools, and services, and documented challenges were up to 1,915 unique titles, a 20% increase from the same reporting period in 2022, which saw the highest number of challenges since the ALA began compiling the data more than 20 years ago. So it is just exponentially going up. And in some states, you could find probably even more of an increase, because some states have been very, very sympathetic to these bans. So, it's encouraged people to just continue doing it more. So let's take a look at what I read so far as part of the challenge. And we can start with the first one I read. This was in early January, 1984, by George Orwell. It is number 79 on the top 100 list of banned and challenged books. So, let's talk about that. Why? Why has it so often been one of the challenged books? So what I did to find out the information on why was I just went ahead and Googled it. It gave me a compilation of several different websites and just kind of a general reason, as because it can be banned or actually can be challenged so many times. So there could be a lot of different reasons for it. So it says that 1984 by George Orwell has been banned in some countries due to its politically sensitive themes and for promoting anti authoritarian ideas. Anti authoritarian ideas. That sounds good. I wouldn't want it to be pro authoritarian, or, if it were, well, okay, it's pro authoritarian. I get to make up my own mind, right? Whether I think that's a good form of government or not. Anyway, it's also been banned for containing explicit language, sexual content, and references to drug use. The book has been challenged in the past for its social and political themes, as well as being pro communism. So is it pro communism or is it anti authoritarian? I don't know. Let's see what I thought. Um, okay. Well, it is anti authoritarian, as I said. In my opinion, it has no more explicit language or sexual content or anything about drug use than any other book, and probably less than most of the books that all of us would routinely read. I didn't pick up anything that was pro-communism. I sensed anti-communism sentiment in the book. Basically, it's a banned book about a dystopian society in what was then the future, 1984, because it was written in 1948, 1949. I think he just took the year and flipped it. And it's literally about banned books and total control of a population. Everything from where they work, what they do, what they read, who they love, and what they think. So I don't think that's pro-communism. I saw nothing in the book that I didn't expect, just from knowing, something about the story. It has been around for a while. And it was, I thought, a good read. I'm glad I read it. I have a full review in Goodreads, and I'll put a link below to that as well. So then the second banned book I read in January is Bridge to Terabithia. This is no longer in the top 100, but it was about a decade or so ago, again, per the American Library Association. It is a young adult book. It's meant for young adults from the ages of 8 to 12. I guess you could actually call that children more so. It was written in 1977. It's been made into a movie. So it is part of our popular culture, I think. It's about friendship, grief, love. There are some minor themes of religion and spirituality in the book as well. It's about a platonic relationship between a boy and a girl. Both are around the ages of 10 to 12. Each of them grew up differently in different areas. And it's kind of somewhat taboo among the kids at that age to have a friend that is in the opposite sex. Girls are still yucky, boys are still yucky. So they invent a fantasy world where they are the king and queen, and they call that land Terabithia. So why is it challenged? Again, I Googled this, and it says Bridge to Terabithia is a novel by Catherine Patterson that has been frequently banned and or challenged in the United States. Some of the reasons for the censorship are its references to witchcraft, atheism, and swearing, as well as its portrayal of children coping with real-world issues through fantasy and lack of parental care and supervision. The novel has been excluded from some textbooks and literary analysis. Well, a little bit about the story. It takes place in rural Virginia, in a town that is kind of, I guess, more or less a driving distance from the DC area. And the young girl in the story is named Leslie. She moves in from the city area into a rural area, and she meets a young boy there. His name is Jess, and he's from a church going family, and Leslie's not really been exposed to organized religion. Again, this is really a minor theme to the story. There's a lot of things that she's been exposed to that he hasn't, and maybe kind of vice versa as well. So, what I see that maybe reflects something of what they're saying in the challenge reason is that there is some question in the book about the use of the word Lord. To Jess, it kind of just means one thing, just means the religious or the spiritual meaning, whereas Leslie uses it in their fantasy play as a term to mean kind of the ruler of the area, which is, basically the dictionary meaning. So I'm going to give you just a small spoiler alert here. Later in the book, Leslie does go to church with Jess, and she starts to kind of understand why religion is important to him. And I took the questions that she asks kind of more along the lines of the fact that she's never been exposed to religion before, more so than she was questioning his beliefs. I think she was actually just questioning, what church was basically all about. The lack of parental presence, I didn't find it to be anything any more than what is typical in any young adult or child novel such as this. It's for young people. It's centered on young people. It's not about their parents. So, there's not a whole lot about them. There is a little bit, but no, the parents don't enter the fantasy world with them. And it's not like the children spend all their time there either. So, again, I'll link my Goodreads review below. Excuse me, my camera was running out of battery. And so finally, we have To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee. This book was written in 1960. It's about a small town in Alabama in the 1930s. And it's told from the story is told from the perspective of a young girl named Jean Louise. She goes by the name of Scout. Her father is Atticus Finch. He's a public defender, and he is a part of the state legislature in Alabama. And he has been tasked with defending a black man who is accused of sexually assaulting a white woman. Mr. Finch is a man of integrity. He is determined to give the accused man a fair representation, to which he's entitled. And he wants to do this despite the misgivings, misunderstandings, and emotional outrage of the townspeople. This is number 15 of the top 100 from the decade of 2010 to 2019. So, why? Why has it been banned? Again, from Google, To Kill a Mockingbird is a classic novel by Harper Lee that has been banned or challenged in some schools due to concerns over racism. So this one was banned or challenged out of schools. The main reason for the ban are the use of racist epithets, especially the N-word, and the plot of a white lawyer defending a black man accused of rape. Some critics also argue that the novel centers on whiteness and does not represent an authentic black point of view. So here are my thoughts on this. It is a story about racism as well as other societal roles. It has the N-word in it, yes, multiple times in the story. That word is used. and that is a slang term that I don't care to hear, I don't care to use myself at all. Um, it's been used to demoralize, dehumanize, stereotype a race of people. Um, but people do use it even today, uh, along with other slang terms for the LGBT plus community, for instance, uh, the Jewish community, the Irish American community, the Italian American community. There's a slang word for a lot of those things. And I'm sure very often used in different stories and different books, depending on the time, depending on the place where the story takes place. So we can't really bury the word, we can't hide the word. I hear it used less and less in my lifetime. I'm in my mid-60s, so that's a good thing. But it's still part of our challenge, so or our language, basically. So part of our challenge is to decide how we want to represent that to our children. How do we want to talk to them about it? Because it's going to come up one way or the other, whether they read To Kill a Mockingbird or not. This book is typically taught in high schools, so I thought I'd mention the age group since it is one that's banned from schools. And they say that they use it in grade 10, and that's kind of how I remember it. I didn't read it in grade 10. Must have taken some other type of English course. Maybe I took something that was advanced or something, or included writing or something along those lines, I think. I can't really remember, to tell you the truth. It was quite some time ago. But yeah, grade 10 or above, it says. And I mean, I can't see where it wouldn't be appropriate for that age group. I don't even understand the reference to this being written centered upon whiteness. I think that's insulting, no matter what culture you come from, to say that. Because was it told because the author was white, or was it told to shine a light on the otherwise dark topics of racism, prejudice, injustice, and equality? Because I think it's the latter for sure. And also, it's a darn fine story. I can tell you that. I wouldn't want it to be any different. Harper Lee's life, if you read about it, has a lot of similarities to Scout's, and so I suspect there may be a lot of authenticity to this story, no matter what words are used or that kind of thing. There's authenticity there. I believe she lived some experiences that were very similar to what goes on in this book. So the story is really a gem. I loved it. I'm glad it was written just the way that it is. So that's my wrap up on month 1 pertaining to the hashtag 24BB project. Please like, subscribe, comment, etc. And please consider reading some banned books this year if you haven't already. Thank you very much for watching.